Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you are a job seeker right now, or maybe a career changer, a veteran trying to translate your military service, or a caregiver trying to step back into the workforce, you are probably absolutely exhausted. I mean, you're out there battling these modern hiring systems, endlessly rewriting your professional story from memory every single time a portal asks for it. You tweak the formatting, you obsess over optimizing the keywords, you try your hardest to sound like exactly what some hidden algorithm wants to hear. And it's draining, right? But the research we're going to dive into points to a truly fascinating twist. The problem? It isn't you. And it actually isn't your resume writing skills either.
Think about it for a second. Why does fixing up a resume never quite feel like it's enough? You can make the document look cleaner, you can swap out weak words for stronger action verbs, you can pack it with all the right industry jargon, and yet, despite all of that work, you still feel totally misunderstood by the labor market. You get this sinking feeling that the easiest, most simplified version of you to process is literally the only version the system actually sees. Fixing the formatting just doesn't solve this deeper issue anymore.
The core realization we absolutely have to make here is that a resume is just a surface. And right now, frankly, that surface is broken. It is a rendering, a thin, two-dimensional layer that simply cannot hold the full, complex truth of your professional life. It was never built to carry all of your messy context, your nuanced judgment, your hard-learned lessons, or those uncredentialed skills you use every day. When we mistake this paper-thin surface for the actual living record of our professional lives, we are setting ourselves up for failure.
The real tension here is grounded in some pretty startling data. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median job tenure for workers right now is just 3.9 years. So to put that into perspective, we are transitioning faster than ever before. And every single time you leave an employer, survive a round of layoffs, or completely shift industries, you instantly lose access to the employer-owned systems that contain your professional memory. The moment your login is deactivated, your metrics, your project histories, your glowing feedback, it's all gone. You are just left out in the cold, trying to reconstruct your immense value entirely from memory. And then, well, there's the AI paradox. There's this fascinating 2024 study by Padma Kumar and Heth that looked at what actually happens when everyone uses language models to write. The finding? It drastically reduces content diversity. It homogenizes our writing. So when everyone is out there using AI to sound perfectly polished and flawlessly strategic, sounding better is no longer a competitive advantage. The job market is completely flooded with these perfect AI-generated surfaces. Polish alone just doesn't carry trust anymore. Because of this, we are being forced into a massive shift in how we manage our careers. We're moving away from the old world of the resume, that surface output, usually built in a sheer state of panic and frantic reconstruction after you've already lost access to all your data. Instead, we have to move toward the record, a governed, evidence-based source of truth, so instead of reconstructing your past from scratch every few years, you simply render a customized surface from this deep, beautifully organized record whenever you actually need it.
We call this new foundation a professional truth architecture. It basically means demoting the resume from the center of your professional identity. Instead, you build a worker-owned evidence layer. Think of it like a private vault that securely tracks your professional claims, the rich context behind them, your actual artifacts, and even exactly how you use AI to write about them. In this model, you and literally only you govern your professional proof, not the corporate system.
But we have to be incredibly careful here. The UK's Information Commissioner's Office, or the ICO, highlights a really crucial rule in data protection known as data minimization. As we all start building these evidence layers, privacy has to be paramount. Portable proof is a fantastic concept, absolutely, but without strict privacy boundaries, your evidence layer could so easily become an employer-owned dossier of permanent surveillance. We want proof, for sure, but we definitely don't want an inescapable digital cage.
So, navigating this massive shift happens in 3 historical revisions. Step 1 is basically our current reality, surface chaos. Resumes are totally overloaded. AI is polishing everything into meaninglessness, and trust is incredibly low. Step 2 is the evidence transition, where we actually roll up our sleeves and start building these governed records. And finally, Step 3 is the ultimate goal, the contribution question. This is where we move way beyond just proving we are employable and start asking where we can truly be useful in the world.
To survive this transition, you don't need some complex, expensive software. You just need to build a minimum viable record. Using the companion workbook process from the source material, it really just comes down to asking yourself these 5 simple questions on a regular basis. What happened? What did I contribute? What evidence exists? What claim does this support? And crucially, what must remain private? Building this simple habit, week by week, captures your value before your memory of it fades away.
Right now, I want you to mentally perform what the workbook calls a surface audit. Take a quick inventory. Which of your public profiles, your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letters, are currently carrying way too much weight? Where are you relying on a glossy, polished AI summary without having the solid, underlying evidence to actually back it up if a hiring manager really pressed you on it?
Now, if you do sensitive work, like if you're in healthcare, education, or HR, you obviously can't just go around sharing patient data or proprietary code. The framework solves this problem through something called artifact safety. You essentially translate unsafe, raw evidence into safe context. So you don't share the client's name, instead, you share the massive scale of the budget, the complexity of the turnaround, and the high stakes involved. You successfully prove your competence without ever violating privacy. As you gather all this evidence, you have to map it to what the source calls claim maturity. Because let's be honest, not every skill on your resume is at the exact same level. Some are verified by hard credentials, some are strongly supported by solid context and evidence, but some are just emerging. You're still in the process of learning them. And some are purely aspirational. Mapping maturity like this prevents you from overinflating your skills just to beat an algorithm, while also making sure you don't underclaim the hard-earned, ordinary work you do every single day.
And because we live in the wild era of generative AI, your record needs an AI provenance log. This is exactly how we use AI responsibly. You don't just let ChatGPT completely invent your career history out of thin air. You track the source material you fed it, the specific prompts you used, and the human revisions you personally made. You ensure that the AI synthesized your actual, real evidence into clean language, rather than just hallucinating a perfectly homogenized, completely fake professional identity.
So, once you actually have this evidence organized and fully governed, you unlock revision 3, the contribution question. This is really the deepest, most philosophical shift in modern work we're talking about here. We finally stop asking, how do I make my resume pass the stupid applicant tracking system, and we start asking a much better question. What is all this gathered evidence actually for? Getting there requires a total mindset shift. We have to break away from employment identity, which totally traps you into endlessly asking, what job title do I hold? And instead, we embrace a contribution identity. Contribution identity asks, where can I be useful? And wow, this is incredibly validating and liberating for gig workers, for caregivers who possess massive logistical skills but no formal corporate title, and for veterans whose military titles just don't perfectly map to civilian jobs. You are so much more than your title, you are your capacity to contribute.
But I have to leave you with the absolute, starkest warning from the source material. Quote, portable proof can become permanent surveillance. If this professional truth architecture is built by hiring platforms or shady data brokers or massive employers rather than by the workers themselves, it will strip away human mercy. It will turn your professional life into a permanent, inescapable scoring system where every single mistake you've ever made is cataloged forever.
The system this absolutely must not become is a reputation machine without mercy. People change, right? We fail, we learn from those failures, we outgrow our old habits, and we rebuild our lives after crises. A true worker-owned evidence layer fiercely protects your right to grow. It gives you the agency to redact past mistakes and to confidently say, yes, that is true about my past, but it is no longer what I'm offering today. Professional truth simply must include privacy.
Which brings us to the ultimate question you have to answer for yourself today. As AI rapidly accelerates and the old, broken resume system completely collapses, will your professional proof belong to you, or will it belong to the cold system evaluating you? The time to start governing your own professional truth is right now. Start building your governed record piece by piece well before the next career crisis hits. Go out there and start capturing your evidence today.